Imagine standing before the highest leader of the Catholic Church, knowing that your words could change the entire institution. Priest Elias Zalaoui of Damascus, at the age of 93, has dedicated his life to challenging the established powers and raising questions that many often avoid, driven solely by the truth. But why does this matter to us? Priest Zalaoui is not only addressing the Pope, but he is also addressing the entire world. He's asking us to think about one crucial question. What happens when those in power choose silence over truth? Let's face it, the world can feel unfair. Countries fight wars that destroy lives, leaders make promises they don't keep, and innocent people pay the price. But Priest believes there's a deeper problem: silence. He argues that when powerful voices, like the Pope's, stay quiet about injustice, they're letting it grow. He calls out not just governments, but also the Church, a symbol of morality and hope for billions. He poses a question to the Pope. If Christ were present today, would he remain silent in the face of war's suffering, or would he speak the truth, even if it made people uncomfortable? He's not afraid to criticize the Pope himself, saying that the Church should be leading the charge for justice, not standing quietly on the sidelines. He compares the United States' actions in the world to a hippopotamus stomping on a field of tulips, crushing delicate lives without care. That's how Priest Zalaoui describes the wars and conflicts fueled by powerful nations, especially in the Middle East. And he doesn't hold back. He accuses these nations of hiding behind words like freedom and democracy while their actions cause endless suffering. Priest Zalaoui believes that change starts with truth. If those in power, including the Pope, spoke openly about these injustices, it could inspire others to act. He says the Church has a unique responsibility to guide the world, not just spiritually but morally. But to do that, it must find the courage to speak out. Priest doesn't shy away from pointing fingers. He accuses the United States of being the primary driver behind the chaos in the Middle East. Wars that have claimed millions of lives have plagued this region since the turn of the century. From the invasion of Iraq in 2003 to the ongoing conflict in Syria, the fingerprints of US foreign policy are everywhere. Zalaoui describes the US as a hippopotamus stomping on a field of tulips, a metaphor that captures the reckless destruction he believes has characterized their actions. This isn't just poetic criticism, it's grounded in decades of events. The wars in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Libya, initiated under the banner of freedom and democracy, left nations in ruins and countless civilians dead or displaced. Take Syria, for example. What began as civil unrest in 2011 quickly escalated into a devastating war fueled by external interventions. According to Zalaoui, Western nations, led by the US, played a critical role in destabilizing the region under the guise of protecting human rights. The result? Over 500,000 people lost their lives and millions were forced to flee their homes, transforming the country into a symbol of human suffering. But Priest Zalaoui doesn't stop with the US. He criticizes Europe for being a passive accomplice, describing it as a mule following America's lead. He argues that European nations have blindly supported US policies even when it meant compromising their own values and stability. One striking example is the relationship between NATO and Russia. Priest Zalaoui highlights how NATO's eastward expansion, heavily influenced by US interests, has escalated tensions with Russia. Remember to join our community by subscribing to this channel. This isn't just political posturing, it has real consequences. In 2014, the crisis in Ukraine erupted, partly fueled by Western involvement. Today, the conflict continues, threatening to spiral into a larger war that could engulf the entire world. His fear is clear. By playing along with American dominance, Europe is not only enabling destruction in the Middle East, but also putting itself at risk of catastrophic conflict. And as he sees it, the Church, an institution that should be advocating for peace, remains silent. Priest Zalaoui's warnings are a call to action for the future, not just rooted in history. He believes the current trajectory is a ticking time bomb. With global powers locked in a dangerous dance of dominance, it's not a question of if a major conflict will erupt, but when. He points to the growing tension between the US, Russia, and China as evidence. The competition for influence in regions like the Middle East, Africa, and Asia is intensifying, with devastating consequences for those caught in the middle. And yet, the leaders of the world, including the Pope, seem content to watch from the sidelines. At its core, moral responsibility is the duty to act when you have the ability to make a difference. It's about taking a stand for what's right, even when it's hard. For a priest, this isn't just a personal belief, it's a fundamental principle he believes should guide leaders, especially those in positions of moral authority like the Pope. Zalawi's critique revolves around one central idea. The Church, as a symbol of faith and justice, cannot afford to be a passive observer in the face of global suffering. To him, silence isn't neutral, it's a choice, and that choice, he argues, has dire consequences for millions of lives. Priest Zalawi believes the Church has a unique and vital role in the modern world. As an institution that represents moral integrity, it has the power to shape conversations about justice, compassion, and accountability. But for the Church to fulfill this role, it must be willing to speak out, loudly and clearly, against injustices. One of Zalawi's most poignant criticisms of Pope Francis is his perceived reluctance to confront the actions of powerful nations. The priest points to moments when the Pope had the opportunity to condemn war, imperialism, and greed, but instead offered only general calls for prayer. For a priest, moral responsibility isn't just about speaking the truth, it's about living it. This means taking risks. Speaking out against powerful forces often comes with personal risks. Zalawi himself has faced criticism and opposition for his bold words, but he believes the cost of silence is far greater. Setting an example. Leaders, especially those in positions of moral authority, have a duty to lead by example. This includes confronting uncomfortable truths and advocating for change, even when it's unpopular. Inspiring others. When leaders act with courage and integrity, they inspire others to do the same. Zalawi believes the Church has the potential to ignite a global movement for justice, but only if it embraces its responsibility. What makes moral responsibility so powerful is its ability to create change. When one person or institution takes a stand, it can inspire others to follow. Zalawi's story is proof of this. His courage has sparked conversations about the role of the Church, the ethics of global power, and the need for accountability. Priest Zalawi's critique of the Church stems from what he sees as a gap between its teachings and its actions. He questions why the Church, which holds immense influence, often hesitates to take clear stances on global crises. For example, he recalls Pope Francis's 2015 visit to the United States, during which the Pope gave several speeches. While these speeches were filled with gratitude and recognition, Zalawi noticed something missing: direct criticism of the policies that contribute to war and suffering. Zalawi found this silence troubling, particularly given the Church's unique position to expose such injustices. Zalawi believes the Church should not just react to crises, but proactively challenge systems of oppression. Whether it's addressing wars in the Middle East, advocating for the poor, or protecting vulnerable communities, the Church has the power to inspire real change. As the leader of the Catholic Church, the Pope holds a position unlike any other. People view him as a moral compass, a guide for the faithful, and a global voice for justice. The priest challenges the Pope to fully embrace this role by being unafraid to confront uncomfortable truths. The stakes are particularly high in today's world, where global tensions continue to rise. From wars and economic inequality to environmental crises, the challenges we face require bold and principled leadership. He believes the Church must be at the forefront of these battles, using its moral authority to demand change. In Soufania, it is said that the Virgin Mary and Jesus Christ appeared to Myrna Nazur, a young housewife, bringing messages of unity, prayer, and reconciliation. These occurrences included inexplicable phenomena like stigmata, the exuding of oil from her hands, and miraculous messages. Priest Elias Zalaowi's profound role connects this remarkable story to the themes of moral and religious responsibility. Priest Zalaoui, a steadfast voice for truth and justice, dedicated himself to documenting and analyzing the Soufanieh phenomena. His work not only preserved this spiritual mystery, but also underscored the critical role of faith leaders in addressing the moral crises of our time. At the heart of the Soufanieh phenomena lies a profound and urgent message, the call for unity among Christians. Myrna Nazur's reported visions and messages consistently emphasized the importance of reconciliation between the Eastern Orthodox and Roman Catholic churches. In a region fractured by religious and political divisions, this message carried immense weight. It wasn't merely about theology, but about fostering compassion, cooperation, and shared humanity. He saw these events as more than spiritual miracles. He saw them as a call to action. He believed that the Church's responsibility extended beyond religious rituals to becoming a proactive force for justice and unity in a divided world. Just as he challenged Pope Francis to address global injustices, he viewed Soufanieh as a divine reminder of the Church's duty to lead courageously. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Soufanieh phenomena is how it brings together faith and scientific inquiry. Reports of stigmata, spontaneous oil exudation, and miraculous healings naturally drew the attention of skeptics and believers alike. The priest welcomed this scrutiny, inviting doctors and scientists to observe and analyze the events. This openness highlighted a key theme in Zalaowi's broader mission: truth. He believed that faith must not shy away from investigation, but instead embrace it as a means to deepen understanding. While scientific studies did not provide definitive answers to the Soufanieh events, they added layers of intrigue and credibility, encouraging believers to engage with their faith thoughtfully and skeptics to remain open-minded. The messages associated with Soufanieh were simple yet profound, urging humanity to embrace unity. The repeated call for Christian unity serves as a metaphor for bridging divisions in all aspects of life, from religious to geopolitical conflicts. Pray and reflect. Prayer is not just a spiritual act, but a reminder of our connection to the divine and our shared purpose. Are you enjoying the story? Support our channel by clicking the subscribe button. Act with compassion. The messages challenge individuals to live lives rooted in forgiveness, empathy, and love. We cannot view the Soufanieh phenomenon in isolation. Its messages intersect with broader themes of justice and responsibility that Priest Zalaoui championed throughout his life. Just as the Soufanieh messages called for unity among Christians, he believed the Church should unify humanity in confronting these crises. In this sense, the events of Soufanieh became a symbol of what the Church could and should be, a beacon of hope and a voice for the voiceless. His dedication to Soufanieh exemplifies his commitment to preserving truth and inspiring action. His book, Remember God: Messages from Jesus and Mary in Soufanieh, stands as a testament to his effort to document not only the events themselves, but their deeper meaning. Through this work, he aligned Soufanieh's spiritual messages with his broader mission to hold leaders accountable and remind the Church of its divine responsibility. Christianity and Islam share deep historical and spiritual connections. Both faiths emphasize love, compassion, and the importance of living a moral life. They also share a history in the Middle East, a region that has been home to both communities for centuries. Priest Zalaoui sees these shared roots as the foundation for a meaningful dialogue. Instead of focusing on differences, he encourages both Christians and Muslims to celebrate what unites them, Whether it's a commitment to helping the poor, raising families with strong values, or pursuing justice, these commonalities can serve as bridges for deeper understanding. For priests, interreligious dialogue isn't just about solving problems. It's about finding joy in the diversity of human experience. He speaks of the spiritual enrichment that comes from learning about another faith and the personal growth that comes from engaging with people who see the world differently. He often shares stories of Christians and Muslims in Damascus living side by side, attending each other's celebrations, and working together during times of hardship. These interactions, he believes, create bonds that are stronger than any theological disagreement. Despite these opportunities for connection, Priest Zalawi acknowledges the challenges that interreligious dialogue faces. Misunderstandings, stereotypes, and historical grievances often create barriers. Some may view dialogue as a threat to their faith, fearing that opening up to another religion might weaken their own beliefs. Priest Zalawi's vision for interreligious dialogue isn't just theoretical, it's deeply practical. He encourages open conversations. Honest, respectful discussions about beliefs, values, and traditions can break down stereotypes and foster understanding. Shared community projects. Working together on initiatives like feeding the hungry or rebuilding neighborhoods creates bonds rooted in shared humanity. Celebrating each other's traditions. Attending each other's religious or cultural events shows respect and a willingness to learn. Education. Teaching children about different religions in schools can help future generations grow up with respect and understanding. These actions, he believes, not only promote peaceful coexistence, but also create a stronger, more united community. Priest Zalawi dreams of a world where Christians and Muslims don't just tolerate each other, but actively support and enrich one another. He envisions interreligious dialogue as a way to heal divisions, prevent conflicts, and create a shared sense of purpose. In his writings and teachings, he often reminds people that peace doesn't come from avoiding differences, but from engaging with them in a spirit of mutual respect. When Christians and Muslims work together, they not only honor their shared values, but also set an example for the rest of the world. His fearless critique of power structures serves as a reminder that moral responsibility does not stop at acknowledging injustice. It demands action. He called out the silence of global leaders, particularly the Church, in the face of wars that devastated the Middle East and beyond. For him, silence was not neutrality. It was complicity. However, his critique lacked cynicism. He anchored his critique in the hope that influential individuals could utilize their voices to promote peace and justice. He believed that institutions like the Church had a unique role to play as moral compasses for humanity. When leaders fail to speak the truth, the ripple effects are devastating, not just for the immediate victims of injustice, but for the fabric of humanity itself. His work documenting and analyzing the Soufenier phenomena reveals his dedication to truth, not just in words, but in action. The miraculous events witnessed by Myrna Nazor, including appearances of the Virgin Mary and Jesus Christ, carried messages of unity, prayer, and reconciliation. These messages were not confined to the Christian community, but extended to humanity as a whole, urging all to live lives of compassion and faith. Zalawi's role in preserving the Soufenier story was essential. He brought the events to a global audience, compiling testimonies and welcoming scientific investigation to explore their mysteries. For him, the messages of Soufenier were divine lessons, a call for Christians to reconcile and a reminder that faith and responsibility must go hand in hand. Another cornerstone of his legacy was his advocacy for interreligious dialogue, particularly between Christians and Muslims. Living in Damascus, a region rich in both faith traditions, Zalawi experienced firsthand the possibilities that arise when communities choose cooperation over division. He viewed dialogue not as a threat to one's beliefs, but as an opportunity for growth, joy, and spiritual enrichment. For Zalawi, sharing traditions, engaging in honest conversations, and working together toward common goals were essential steps in fostering peace. He urged both Christians and Muslims to see each other not as rivals, but as neighbors, united by shared values of compassion, justice, and care for the vulnerable. If you're enjoying this story, consider supporting it through Super Thanks. Your contribution helps share these powerful messages of unity, courage, and hope with more people. His vision for interreligious dialogue serves as a model for global coexistence. It shows that understanding does not require uniformity and that respecting differences can strengthen rather than weaken the bonds of humanity. A recurring theme in Zalawi's teachings was the responsibility of the Church to act as a moral leader. He challenged religious institutions to go beyond prayer and rhetoric, urging them to confront the world's injustices directly. He believed that the Church's silence in the face of wars, poverty, and inequality was a betrayal of its mission to serve as a beacon of hope and truth. Through his work, he showed that religious responsibility means leading by example, speaking boldly against oppression, advocating for peace, and fostering unity among people of all faiths. He argued that the Church must not just guide its followers spiritually, but also inspire them to take action in their own lives. Zalawi's life reminds us that we all have a role to play in shaping the future. Whether by fostering dialogue, advocating for those in need, or holding leaders accountable, our actions, big or small, can create ripples of change. Thanks for watching. Join our community by subscribing to this channel. Until the next video.